what is going on YouTube? This is Acid Root. So I'm going to review a 2007 album by Tum Tum. Basically, this product is called Eat or Get 8, and it came out in the summer of 2007. Now, the thing I remember about Tum Tum in the past is just the fact that he particularly had a hit single called Caprice Music, which was a very low-key type single. To this day, I want to say that Tum Tum does not have a wiki page about him, which is kind of unfortunate with the pitch, because that was probably one of the reasons why I didn't review him in the past, because back in those days, I just didn't review as much things that didn't have wiki articles about them. But I do remember this particular cat being in Double XL and places like that. He did get reviews. I want to say that particular magazine, the Double XL mag pitches like that, gave this particular album Eat or Get 8 from 2007 like an M, which is like the second lowest score it can get out of the scores. Double XL being the highest, S as in small being the worst score you could get, but it got an M, which is a medium, which was not that great, something like that. Maybe even got a small, I don't remember as full bound, but this was not as paraded. But this is a classic here, just be able to say that. I definitely like the vicious kind of appeal about this product. This is a low-key dynamite type album. This is a pitch. I don't know how much full bound attention this got, just because of the factoid that it just seems like, I don't know how many more albums he dropped after this. I was looking him up on Rate Your Music, and it seemed like he really only had 3 albums. Now, he did have some other mixtapes. Tum Tum did have some other mixtapes, including a mixtape that came out in the same month as this particular album, but it just felt like, for the most part, his main noteworthy single, kind of similar to Jim Jones, his main single being We Fly High, something like that. I feel like Tum Tum's main claim to fame was Caprice Music. Now, I looked hard enough, and there was actually another single that was released off this project, which is basically Haters, This One's For You. But for the most part, a lot of rap around like the mid-late 2000s, between about 2005 to early 2008 or so, would get like one single off an album, and they would always attempt a second one, and it just wouldn't do as well. And it's kind of the pitch. It's usually those type ones would fall into some sort of quotable or meme type trap, where you would get the songs like Move Bitch, Get Out the Way. Even though Ludacris didn't have this problem, you would get songs like We Fly High, which is mainly known for just the way you'd swish and say ballin' and pitches like that, and Young Jock is going down for his dance, and Laffy Taffy, you know, some of those type ones within the pitch behind it. Shoulder Lean, some of those type of appeals that just kind of had the aspect. Fat Joe's Make It Rain within some of those type of aspects. Either you'd be a one hit per album or a one hit wonder just in general to some of those type of pitches. A lot of folks kind of had that particular format, but this particular album is pretty vicious within the concept. I would definitely not pay attention to the usual kind of commotion where most folks, I feel like Tum Tum is so beneath the radar within the most part. Just judging by the Rate Your Music rating on here, which got a 1.18 out of 5 out of 10 ratings as far as this first. I just look after it. This is not to say it's a bad album. It's just kind of pitch. It's just so low key within the sense. I just feel like the casual factor about this album is it's not going to be that severe within the pitch, because most folks probably don't even know who he is within the concept. I mean, if you're talking more Texas fried type folks, if you're around the Texas area or more southern type areas, pitches like that, and you know folks, they're going to remember music from 18 years ago, way back in 2007, 2008, 2009, 2006, some of those type areas. There might be some leftover folks who might still remember them, but kind of feels like most of that particular era has much been brushed aside. But it's not to say this is a bad product. Like I said, it's going to get a classic score, 10 out of 10 here, vicious type appeal. It's another secret highlight in the same vein as folks like Young Jock with Hustlenomics and New Jock City, Young Dro with Best Thing Smokin', T.I. with King and Paper Trail, and T.I. vs. T.I.P., some of those type ones. Chameleonaire with Ultimate Victory and The Sound of Revenge. Like Lil Wayne with the Carter 2, the Carter 3, some of those particular type fares, just in the same vein as a lot of those within those particular type pitches. Dem Franchise Boys with On Top of Our Game, and their 2008 album, their 2006 and 2008 album, some of those type pitches. So just playing to that particular type form, just another taste of that particular aspect of some banner. I would say this is a banner Southern album and 2000s album in terms of quality, but just in terms of notoriety, it's probably more secondary, even in some senses tertiary, because basically, Tum Tum's biggest single, Caprice Music, was a pretty huge song, but I don't know how high it charted on the charts just because there's not tons of real information about it. I suppose I could go to Billboard.com to look it up, but I don't really think it was that severely high within the pitch. But I just look after it, and if it was, it's probably his only single that did. But yeah, just be able to say here, so there's 18 songs off this particular album, which I like the concept because this is a pretty hitting type project. Out of 18 songs, I'll end up recommending 15. So the only 3 songs I don't recommend on here would just be one of which is You Ain't Hungry, another of which is Click Clack, and another of which is Better Days. So to talk about these, basically, I'll get to the singles, but I'll just go ahead and knock out the songs I don't recommend real quick, just get those out the way. Basically, You Ain't Hungry just had a real horrid type production on here. It was just one that was just kind of an operatic type one, just real fierce and in your face, which is not a problem with that particular approach. It was just kind of the concept that the production fare on this has pretty much had one of the more kind of disengaging and just not overall convincing kind of production as far as what's going to happen. Definitely reminded me of like the Royce da 5'9" single, like Writer's Block, some of those type hit, just an operatic type one that just was a more kind of like just this is kind of a flop of a song that just didn't nail the aspect. I like the topic of the song being "You Ain't Hungry." Some of these type, like the thing about Tum Tum on this particular album is he's very much amidst like the grind. He's very much a hungry hustler as far as those pitches can happen. He's very much bloodthirsty and has the aspect of wanting to get towards it, and pretty chest beating gorilla within the aspect of wanting to get on the grind and get hop towards it. But that particular one was just not within the aspect of that particular clean shift as far as this pitch can happen. Click Clack was kind of a storytelling type one within the pitch, just talking about gunfare that just doesn't work as much. But I feel like the topic of this particular song worked better than the actual effect of what it was trying to do. It just did not nail the composition behind it. It was trying to nail like Tupac type vibes of making you think like the concepts of having like this more like having more gap violence and pitches like that, but just the concept of that particular song is supposed to be like a food for thought type song, but the approach behind it was not that affable. And then I would say Better Days was just kind of like a more in between kind of just personal type song that just was kind of another flop of one that just didn't nail the appeal. So I feel like for the most part, Tum Tum definitely has some excitable type moments on here. It's kind of the concept. He's a pretty convincing hustler within the pitch. He does get to the money and pitches like that, but some of these kind of more thought-provoking Tupac type moments, and then a particular moment that was trying to be like a 300 movie from 2007 kind of grind, just kind of Leonidas type ferocity just didn't work that well. So those are the only two moments that just kind of had like some degree of snag. But this album gets a 10 out of 10. So talk about the singles now. Basically, if you know anything about Tum Tum, you probably should at least know Caprice Music. This is probably more than likely his most notable song. Lead single here is like a classic late 2000s kind of ringtone slapper to kind of get within those aspects. Just easy highlight from like those particular eras to like the mid-late 2000s. Easy kind of vehicle knock to kind of get here, I'd say, and this is just some bass explosions as far as those pitch comes. So this is definitely a song you can hear from quite a distance, just with an aspect depending upon your vehicle. Easily going to pick up this song. It's probably one that's going to wake the neighbors up. Pitch like that. It's kind of an aspect of really like some heavy knock. This kind of one probably is not. I mean, this is probably one that's an asshole of a song to play in like the nighttime as far as those pitches going to happen, especially 1, 2, 3 in the morning as far as those pitches going to happen if you're in like a more city type fashion, more residential areas. But this is an excellent type one within the pitch. It's heavy kind of knock. This easy kind of bass type knock. This easy kind of pounder, and just the aspect of like great nightclub glitz on top of that. I'd have to say just classic type tune. Definitely like the aspect behind it. Then Haters, this one's for you, is the second single. And this one's not as commonly talked about. I could tell by the popularity on Spotify, it didn't seem like a ton of folks really realized that this was a single just because the information about Tum Tum is pretty minimal within those pitches. But this is like a snazzy kind of nightclub and night fog heat to kind of get within the aspects, whether it is this like nightclub noise or just more amidst like the night, just in the fog and the outing fair, just being more outdoors within pitches like that. It's like a basic bop to kind of get here and a dance kickstart to kind of have within those aspects. Haters, this one's for you, is just another classic example of just like a good song that got ignored just because the impact, it just didn't have like the same meal and just didn't have the same meme and kind of like quotable type appeal within the pitch. It is an excellent song, but just some of those type formats. Baby Boy the Prince with The Way I Live is another type cat that was kind of within some of those type appeals. So there's plenty of those type ones I reviewed across the past, good wild pitches like that, but it's not like this is a bad song whatsoever. It's just kind of the pitch, I think, going from like a heavy knock of like a just banner type single like Caprice Music. It was just kind of difficult song to kind of follow up within the pitch. He just didn't get enough room to grow within those aspects. It's not a bad song whatsoever. It's really excellent within the fair, but it's just kind of more vanilla in terms of like night fog and night venue heat as far as this pitch can happen. But there are plenty of good choices on this album as far as fairs that could have been singles. I feel like Anthem is a good choice. Square Business is a good choice. Showtime's a pretty vicious one. Hood Shit's a pretty nice one. Some of these type ones within the after effect of it. Mission Accomplished is a real excellent type one within these fairs. Tum, within a certain sense, if it would have been like the fourth, fifth, or sixth single, is pretty similar to like Rubber Band Man by T.I. and Jeezy's My Hood. Some of those type pitches probably could have been a late shift type one. So there's just pitches like that on here. There are some hustle songs like Eat or Get Eight and Hustle that have some good aspects. Probably not singles, but probably could have been like songs that could have had music videos for them, something like that. There's plenty of these moments, but I feel like She's a Ghost, pretty good ladies type song within a pitch that just has like good apple taste, is considering the product of it, just for like some play a type noise within the aspects. So it's good type fair. But Hater or Anthem is a quality one here. And some of these folks on this particular album, there are guests on here, like Jim Jones is on here, Trey the Truth is on here, some of these type folks, but there's some other folks I don't know as full bound well. Manny Fresh is at least on here, which is another cat that I know, but it's a good type pitch. But just kind of more low key, like on the allmusic.com description, it said that T.I. and some of those type folks, maybe even Lil Wayne, were on here, but they're not. I'd have to say within the pitch that if you see certain descriptions, I feel like the biggest names on this album would be Manny Fresh, Trade the Truth, and Jim Jones within those pairs. But these other cats like Double T, Lil Ronnie, and Tite, and Don Dot are on here as well, and Reyes, some folks like that. But it's a good type of appeal. But Anthem is a nice highlight here. It's like a DJ Khaled-like kind of southern loud pack to kind of get within the aspect of it. Just some good glamour, good evening embrace, I would definitely had to say, and a good pull-up type tune to kind of get within the aspect. Great song to stunt to as far as those first gonna happen. So just kind of night shift. I like the concept of this particular leery type energy. This is a pretty leery type album within the aspect. I mean, it has the night type appeal. Feels like a Miami type album. It just feels like a more night oriented type album but it feels like a late shift and night oriented type album, similar to Rick Ross's Port of Miami, with like songs like Push It to the Limit, some of those type ones, but just more in the pitch of like without like the glitz and kind of full bound glamour. I mean, it's just not as seedy, not quite as neon within the pitch, but it's just kind of night product that just has a little bit more glaze factor towards it and just a little bit more slag. It's just very much like a forlorn, just kind of in like Red Skies, kind of hellish, kind of dredgy like aspect within the pitch behind it. But I do like that particular aspect. It's really interesting, kind of like the night fog, the kind of, it just is a very like beriddled kind of album, and I like the aspect behind it. Some of these songs on here like Hustle and Eat or Get Ate and She's a Ghost, some of these type ones really have that particular appeal. And just like the outdoor, just in like the evening kind of shift, just amongst like some kind of scraggly kind of nights and pitches like that. So it's a good type of appeal. She's a Ghost is an example, one of these, like I was saying, this is one of the few ladies songs on here, but definitely has a good aspect to doing it. It's like a basic Day After I was going to groove to kind of get in between commerce, I'd had to say here. Just the Bella's kind of simp and then peel off kind of tune as far as this pitch kind of happen. By peel I just mean find a Bella, and by peel out I mean find a Bella and then dip out as far as this pitch can happen. So just good aspect within that particular tone as far as those first gonna happen. Just basic kind of residential product within some of these type moments. I like the conduct about this album as well. It's kind of switching between residential and night glamour, kind of the pitch of some of it's local. It's kind of more neighborhood type Brahms pitches like that, more amidst like house fair and pitches like that. And then there's some ones for like some stock type appeal. I mean, it doesn't quite get to like the full bound kind of like tuxedo kind of glamour pitches like that, but it does have some stunt nights and pull up nights definitely with an aspect behind it. A few strip club nights in there as well, I'd have to say. Showtime is a pretty excellent Showtime with Jim Jones is a pretty vicious type one on here. Really like the production fair about this. This is a really ferocious type one that just kind of has like a dramatic pitch about it. That just the fierceness of the song is pretty catching. It's like a glaring fierce kind of a mid late shift hour. I'd have to say just kind of good product for that. Frenetic and productive, I'd have to say here. Just kind of almost paranoia in a sense. It's a good song to smoke something to, I'd have to say, within the pitch behind. A good hustle song on top of that, just within a late shift. So Showtime's just an excellent example, like some fierceness. Jim Jones and Tum Tum do an excellent job on this particular song. They make a good combo, so it's a good type fare for that. Square Business is another highlight here. This probably could have been a single, taking it back to 2005, 2006 kind of ringtone raps, like a stock highlight to kind of get here. Square Business, like a stock highlight, kind of ringtone heat to kind of get here. Could have been a single, I definitely have to say, and it's like a good dance club banger. Definitely a good dance club banger amidst those aspects. It's a good product to some of that type fare. Just really enjoying like the night shift pitches like that. Just kind of some product of like good twerk song within a pitch, not as full bound, not the spiciest song on here, but definitely some good enjoyment amidst the product, like good dance energy to kind of have within some of those products. Definitely could have been one of the singles, I'd have to say, like I was saying, good type tone. I feel like Hood Shit is a quality one. This goes pretty good. Not a ringtone rap as much full bound, but definitely a good riler. It says, yeah, this is a good riler kind of getting buzz single, I feel like here. Definitely some buzz single carnage, I'd say. Strip club and late shift kind of ambience, I'd say. And this song has plenty slam within the pitch behind. So just good, nice one. Judging by the fact that Manny Fresh is on Hood Shit, I probably had to say that he probably produced this song. It's just a good type pitch, kind of get that format. Just further night type product. Just plenty of these bangers on here. Songs like Square Business, Showtime, Hood Shit, Mission Accomplished, on top of the world, some of these type pitches. There's just some good, nice ones for just the this is a pretty long-winded type album. That's another thing I really like. Like I was saying, just like Jeezy's Thug Motivation 101, this is an album that goes from head to toe and manages to do within the product, and not just being 10 songs, 12 songs, 14 songs, something like that. I mean, it pretty much, it is going to get a 10 out of 10, but it basically damn near almost fit the bill, and it's like a complete wall-to-wall classic within the aspect behind it. Just really nailed more songs than within the expect. Just considering that this cat does not have that many albums or just that many hits full bound in terms of like a casual sense, it's a real excellent type of appeal. So this is kind of one that's just like you would expect it from Jeezy and T.I. and Young Dro and Young Jock and folks like that, Big Country King, some of these type of folks within aspects behind it, Blood Raw, some of these type of folks, but it's just kind of the pitch that this particular cat's a little bit more tertiary, but just the fact that they managed to nail it's real excellent. Mission accomplished is another highlight here. It's like a revved up kind of litty social parade to kind of get within the aspects. High as hell, definitely recommend about this song. Good stunt highlight to kind of get within the aspects behind it. Definitely some further thump pitches like that. Goes pretty well with Square Business, I'd say, just over a hot type one to kind of get within the aspects. So pretty similar to like ringtone type fashion, just good type pitches here. A pretty glissy one off this particular album would be On Top of the World. It's like a glissy kind of mixtape flavored Benny Jim to kind of get this feels like an actual early bird to stuff that was kind of popping off and just real litty on top of the times of like 2011, 2010, some of those type pitches. Feels more mixtape light. It's like another lit banger to kind of get here, and just some late chill and ambience kind of have within the aspect of it. Just real good product here. Just further kind of starry and just exhilarating nights within the pitch behind as far as those fairs going to happen. TUM or TUM as far as those pitch kind of happen is a good song. It's an acronym for TUM, but it's just kind of the pitch as far as saying it's a nice one. It's like a summary but glazed kind of town hot fun to kind of get within the aspects of it. This definitely reminds of like Rubber Band Man by T.I. and My Hood by Jeezy. It's that same sort of organ kind of baseball game type format within the pitch behind it. Pretty jolly of a song kind of get. One of the few songs, there's not a ton of kind of pep and just balminess about this product. Most of the product that is not so much a stone-faced hustler, but it's just kind of like a a more carnivorous and hungry type hustler within the pitch. Takes like the vibe of like I really feel like within the concept of something Leonidas, like just the concept of that cat from the 300 movie, some of those type fairs that just feels like it feels like yelling, where you'd see the veins in his throat, some of those type pitches. It's kind of the product of this chest beating kind of aspect within the tone of just some of that ferocity. But it doesn't do it in terms of like the yelling and like the craze factor, but it's just kind of the product that he just is very motivated and has like blood pumping type energy kind of get with the aspect. It doesn't do it in a crazy type sense, but it's just a good aspect that you get the blood pumpiness that's just kind of it keeps you productive within the pitch, and these beats are pretty riling as well within the aspects. So it's a good type tone, but Tum is just one of the few jovial type moments in a more jolly type sense that works for the tone. Really like the affability behind Hustle. This is one of those type ones I was talking about that just kind of has like a more upside down kind of, I forget what word I used to describe it when I was talking about one of these songs earlier on like She's a Go, but it's just kind of a more kind of has that scraggly type feeling. It's like a leery kind of work shift wrapping up kind of grind kind of get within these aspects. Not too many songs amidst like the day grind, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock p.m., the lunch shift, some of those particular affairs on like a hot day, but it's like a tilted day slag kind of get here to something for like switching to flip mode, but still kind of in hustle type mode. It's like a straightforward but steady type song kind of get within the aspect. So it's not so much like going and buying a box of beer within the pitch behind. It's just kind of the product of just the after effects of probably it being like where it is evening shift, 5:45, something like that, but still kind of having some more things to wrap up and not quite being done for the day within the pitch, as far as just kind of still being more amidst still like the hustle and still kind of in that mode and not winding down within the pitch, still kind of alive and awake within the tone, not quite tired yet within the aspects. This is good type tone. Really like the leery factor. These are just some kind of, it's just interesting the creeping factor, because this is not really a horrorcore type album, but it just nails it within these pitches. So Hustle and Eater Get 8 are two ones like that. Eater Get 8's like a gnarled and productive kind of money get motions, kind of get within the aspects of it. This late shift moves that I had to say here, just kind of like Hustle the song. Kind of like Hustle the song as far as those first going to happen within the pitch behind it. So this excellent type fair, just the product. There's some ones for, some ones for, I would definitely say this could probably be played in like blue collar type fashions. It's more of Hustler's makeshift within a sense, but it works for the same format, kind of getting towards some of those type folks. It's not as if it's not like, I feel like this album is lower key within the fashion as to whether or not the product of this being like some blue collar type fair, but it definitely works for the product of just getting you on your feet and just having the aspect of getting towards what needs to happen, getting your ducks in a row, some of those type pitches, just getting the stack up as far as this pitch is going to go. Good type tone. Talk That Shit is a quality one as well. It's like a snarled kind of after product, brewing music to kind of get within the aspects here. Great embrace to kind of have after a lengthy day. Just good song to toke and enjoy some demon time as far as those fairs going to happen. Talk That Shit's a good song to enjoy some demon time pitches pitches like that. It's kind of a little bit of like the opposite of like hustle, one of those type ones that's just more amidst like the late grind pitches like that. This one's a little bit more recreational type fare where would be some togish pitches like that. This album does enjoy some smoke fare within the pitch, not as full bound every single song, but has enough aspects to where you can have some smokes in your system just within the fare to have it oftenly enough to get some enjoyment in pitches like that. So it's kind of a good type song, in particular, just has the aspects behind it. I would say not as much of a drinking type album, but just more in the pitch. There's some smoke type moments on here. But it's another song I was getting ready to talk about. Forget which one it was. Oh yeah, Do That's a quality one. It's like a familiar kind of nightclub tune. I'd have to say here. It seems like a mixtape highlight. I've heard the particular production on Do That before. I don't know where it's been. I don't know if it's just folks who have rapped to it in the past. I don't know if it was Rich Boy or Lil Wayne. Some of these type folks. Feels like a popular beat that kind of was around on like DJ drama tape, something like that. I think if you look hard enough in like 2000s kind of mixtape fair, you could probably find that song, but I don't remember the original one. I mean, hats off to Tum Tum if he was the folk that originally had this beat first, but I could almost think I've heard this particular production before. But it's like a basic bop here to kind of get similar to like Haters. This one's for you, just basic kind of vanilla type one within a night venue sense. A pretty good gem within that tone, so a good type pitch for that. If It All Go Tomorrow is a quality one as well. There's like extra moments of in between kind of rumination, kind of get despair, kind of contemplate. I'd have to say within the aspect, good song to stack to as far as this pitch kind of goes. So good song to stack to as far as this pitch kind of goes. So this is kind of another aspect to like a grind type tune, not as ferocious. I'd have to say it's kind of an aspect of it's kind of like breather type moments, just in the aspect of this the contemplative, just realizing the heights that you're reaching, pitches like that. It's kind of the product of Haters stacking up and Frenemies. Aspect of Haters stacking up in front of me, some of those type pitches within the tone as far as that particular aspect just goes along with that. This is an example of a personal type song that just works a little bit better compared to Better Days, that I'd say within the pitch, but it's just kind of the product. I like Trey the Truth on the song, it's a good type aspect here. I like the aspect of Trey the Truth being on this song, it's a good type product here within the tone as far as this pitch gonna go. I look after it. If It All Go Tomorrow is still kind of a grind song. It's just not within the same aspect, like the same vicious context. It's more kind of in like a more mellow, it's kind of chillax type territory, but still it's still productive, but just within the pitch is not as heavy within the aspect. So a good type tone, probably a good one to smoke, maybe like a one joint or one L or two, something like that within the pitch. Just appreciate the times. It's kind of in a more kind of alert type sense, just more productive and just kind of more like ears up type sense within pitch. Radar up, ears up kind of sense for us this pitch can have. So good type tone. Trying to think if there's any other songs I haven't talked about on here just within the pitch behind. I think I've basically talked about every single one of these on here. Like, I think I basically talked about every single one. I think the only one I possibly haven't talked about would just be On Top of the World, which I'm not as full bound sure if I have. I'll just cut this part. But On Top of the World's like a glissy kind of mixtape flavored venue gem. I'd say just another lit banger, and it's like some late chill as far as those aspects going to happen. So it's just kind of the tone. Yeah, I think I did talk about this one just from the pitch as far as saying just kind of some ambience within the noise behind it. Is kind of a good conduct of like. It's kind of a good conduct to like the after effect of just more night energy pitches like that. So that's the particular tone about it. So yeah, I think I'd talk about every song within the ones I recommend, plus all the songs I didn't recommend, or the few songs, the 3 songs I didn't recommend. This album gets a 10 out of 10 within the pitch behind it. The social score I'll probably give like a 9.7. I don't know if it, I mean, I would give it a 10 out of 10, but it's just kind of the pitch. I feel like Caprice Music is a real knockout of a song, real classic. If there had been at least 1 or 2 more songs like that in terms of casual type territory, this probably would have been a 10 out of 10 social. It's probably more in like, I don't want to give it a 9.5, but I feel like 9.7. It'd probably be like a 9.75, just within the quality of it. I mean, this is a pretty popular type album in terms of like what it could do given the chance within the aspect. It has the casual gems on here. This is not a boring album. It's pretty attention grabbing. The beats really are catching. Pitches like that has some good aspects. He's a pretty catching lyricist. Has the concept of just having this particular flair. It's the aspect of having some venue moments, having the grit of like some kind of hustle type energy that just gets things in motion. He's not a square about it. You get the smokish songs on here. Some of these type of aspects, just litty kind of social pizzazz pitches like that, some of those type moments that just kind of in motion and good pacing about it as well. So as far as those aspects kind of happen, just has the delivery and the impact and this overall packaging of something savage like so many. Considering how not as noteworthy that he is just some pretty banner appeal to kind of get this much of a heavy hitter. So it's a good aspect. So 9.75, good aspects here. Some folks like Manny Fresh, Trey the Truth, Jim Jones on here to back things up, pitches like that, some of those type fair. So I look after it. In terms of the future, like I want to question whether or not Tum Tum ever did put out any other albums. It seems like possibly he did. It would seem back in those days, if you did get a hit the size like Caprice Music and some of those type ones that were like one-hit wonders, they would give you at least a second chance to put out another album. So I question if he did have an album out in 2008 or 2009, some of those type pitches as like a follow-up to this one. Even if it didn't do that terrific, I'd still like to review it and see what it's about. But maybe he didn't. I'm not as full-blown sure. There's not really information in wiki articles, pitches like that. So I'm not sure if it's not on Discogs, it's not on Rate Your Music. So if it's not on Discogs, I probably wouldn't know how to go about it. But I guess maybe it'd be on Spotify. But I'll have to see about it, pitches like that. But this is a classic here, 10 out of 10 pitches like that. So Banner kind of album is more in a tertiary type sense, but I do like the concept, I like this impact, and it's a pretty heavy hitter.